The cafeteria went silent as Maya hit the ground, her lunch tray clattering across the floor. 3 boys stood over her, laughter echoing off the walls. They thought she was just another easy target, another quiet girl too scared to fight back. They had no idea who they'd just messed with. Maya Chen had been at Westbrook High for exactly 3 days. She kept to herself, ate lunch alone, and never spoke unless a teacher called on her. To everyone else, she was invisible, forgettable, just another transfer student trying to blend in. Her baggy hoodies and oversized backpack made her look smaller than she was. She walked with her head down, eyes fixed on the floor, avoiding eye contact in the crowded hallways. But invisibility doesn't protect you from bullies. It makes you a target. Jake, Marcus, and Dylan ruled the school's social hierarchy through intimidation. They'd perfected the art of making others feel small, of turning everyday moments into public humiliation. They picked on the quiet ones, the new kids, anyone who wouldn't fight back. And when they spotted Maya sitting alone in the cafeteria that Thursday afternoon, they saw an opportunity they couldn't resist. What they didn't know was that Maya's silence wasn't weakness. It was discipline, and her baggy clothes weren't hiding insecurity. They were hiding years of training that had turned her body into something most people would never expect. It started with Jake bumping into her table as he walked past, hard enough to make her water bottle topple over. Maya caught it without looking up, her reflexes faster than anyone noticed. Marcus laughed, circling back with his friends. They surrounded her table like sharks sensing blood in the water. "What's wrong, new girl? Can't even hold on to a bottle?" Jake's voice carried across the cafeteria, drawing attention. Conversation stopped, heads turned. Everyone knew what was coming. Maya stayed silent, carefully placing her bottle down and continuing to eat. Her hands remained steady, her breathing controlled. She'd been through this before, at other schools, in other situations. She knew the pattern. Ignore them, and they either get bored or they escalate. Either way, she'd handle it. They chose to escalate. Dylan reached down and grabbed her lunch tray, yanking it toward him. Maya's grip tightened for just a moment, a flash of resistance before she let go. The tray flew backward, food scattering across the floor. The cafeteria erupted in laughter and gasps. Teachers were nowhere to be seen, probably in the staff lounge, oblivious to what was unfolding. "Oops," Dylan said, his smirk wide and cruel. "Guess you'll be eating off the floor today." Maya stood up slowly, gathering her things. She wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of seeing her upset. But as she turned to leave, Jake stepped directly into her path, chest puffed out, blocking her way. Marcus moved to her other side. They had her cornered, and they knew it. "Where do you think you're going?" Jake shoved her shoulder, not hard enough to really hurt, but enough to make her stumble. "We're not done with you yet." That's when it happened. As Maya regained her balance, Dylan came up from behind and swept her legs out from under her. She crashed to the ground, her backpack cushioning her fall, but the impact still jarring. The laughter grew louder, more vicious. Students pulled out their phones, recording, posting, turning her humiliation into entertainment. Maya lay there for just a moment, eyes closed, breathing deeply, and then something shifted. As the 3 boys high-fived each other, celebrating their perceived victory, Maya rose to her feet in one fluid motion. There was no stumbling, no hesitation. She moved with a precision that silenced the nearest onlookers first, then rippled outward until the entire cafeteria fell quiet. Jake noticed the change in atmosphere and turned back toward her, his smile faltering. "What are you—" He didn't finish the sentence. When Marcus reached out to shove her again, Maya's hand shot up, deflecting his arm with a technique so clean it looked effortless. Before he could react, she had redirected his momentum, using his own force against him. He stumbled sideways, crashing into a nearby table. Dylan charged at her from the side, but Maya had already seen him coming. Years of martial arts training had taught her to read body language, to anticipate attacks before they happened. She sidestepped with minimal movement, extending her leg just enough to send him tumbling past her, unable to stop his own momentum. Jake, now realizing this wasn't the helpless victim they'd targeted, threw a wild punch. Maya didn't even need to strike back. She simply moved, letting his fist sail past her face, then swept his legs with a controlled motion that sent him crashing down beside his friends. The entire confrontation lasted less than 15 seconds. The cafeteria remained frozen in stunned silence. Maya stood in the center of the chaos, her expression calm, her breathing still controlled. She wasn't gloating, wasn't celebrating. She simply walked over to her scattered belongings, picked up her backpack, and headed toward the exit. As she passed the three boys, still sprawled on the floor in shock and embarrassment, she finally spoke. Her voice was quiet but carried clearly through the silent room. I moved schools to get away from drama, not to create it. But if you push someone down, you should make sure they don't know how to get back up. By the end of the day, the video had spread throughout the entire school. But unlike the humiliation Jake, Marcus, and Dylan had intended to create, it became something different. It became proof that silence doesn't mean weakness, that appearances deceive, and that bullies only have power when their victims believe they do. Maya never had to defend herself again at Westbrook High. The three boys, their egos shattered along with their reputation, suddenly found themselves on the receiving end of the social isolation they'd inflicted on others for years. Sometimes the quietest person in the room is quiet, not because they're afraid to speak, but because they have nothing left to prove. What would you do if you discovered your greatest weakness was actually someone else's greatest strength?